Hey, Kimmers. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Lily. How are you? Hello. Hey, Donna. Aw, thank you. Actually, I'm all kinds of fun. It's raining outside. Hello, Roberta. How are you? Hey, Mercy. Thank you, Apple Juice. It's just really fuzzy and frizzy because it's raining outside. And so it's like, so, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for the heart me's. I appreciate them. If you guys can send heart me's, I really do appreciate that. So, so much. I really do. And if you guys can tap the hell out of my... Thank you, Apple Juice. Tap the hell out of my screen. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Hey, Pancakes. In North Carolina, it's rainy and humid. It's gross here. It really is. Miranda, hello. How are you? How is everybody doing? Guys, if you could do me a favor and share this out. People are still not getting notified. I don't know what's going on. I'm doing good. I don't know what's going on with TikTok lately, but man, I'm not feeling it after this change. Like, it's really frustrating. Nobody gets notified. People are unfollowed. You know what I mean? So many people are like, oh, I had to refollow you. TikTok unfollowed you for me. It's so frustrating. Thank you guys for the heart me's. Thank you so much. Did you, Danny? Thank you for letting me know. You're on a road trip? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, please, if you're just coming in, share this out for me. Tap the hell out of my face, please. I appreciate it. I've had to follow so many people, and they're people I regularly engage with. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. I don't know why TikTok wants to does that to people. It's ridiculous. Hey, Wilma. Hello, Marisol. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, guys. Hi, Tracy. Thank you guys so much for the heart me's. I really do appreciate it. You got notified today, but the other day you didn't. Yeah, Telly, I don't know why it does that. Hello, Pam. How are you? Hey, Allie. Hello, hello. I don't understand that you talk like you're against Gypsy, but sit on live with her. Oh, geez. Guys, have you not noticed I don't even talk about Gypsy anymore? It's a true crime case, guys. I went through the entire case and spoke about it. Okay? Just like I talk about other cases. You do, Tracy? Oh, you have to let us know. So the 13th, Tracy finds out what gender her grandbaby is. That's so exciting. That's super exciting. That's awesome. So please let us know. No disrespect, that's okay. Hello, hello, Millie the Mermaid. How are you? Tappers on when you're at work. Thank you, Pink. I appreciate that. Hey, She Shed. All right, guys. I know I've been talking a lot about the Amy Bradley case. I have been so frustrated with this case, guys. So absolutely frustrated. More so with the family. Guys, I'm so over this family. Hello, Kiki. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. Thank you, Abner. Thank you guys for the heart me's. I really do appreciate it. What are your thoughts on her? Oh, MLF, I can give you my thoughts on her. The whole thing is confusing and frustrating, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay? Especially with the fam, I feel something is missing. Something is off with that family. People can call me mean and rude because I'm saying it, but I'm being honest, okay? There is something gives me a funny feeling with that family. Thank you, Sarah. I hope you're having a good one, too. My whole thing with this family is they talk about how, yes, they do need to take accountability. They talk about how they've been looking for her, right, for years. Doing what? What have they been doing? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What have they been doing? That's what I want to know. What has the Bradley family been doing? Now, they came out, this is almost 30 years later. They come out with a new documentary, right? They come out with all of this stuff. They're out here pushing the narrative. They're out here telling the same stories. But why? Why? What have you been doing? They say that they've been looking for her for the last almost 30 years, but doing what? We haven't seen it. Social media's been around for a long time, right? So what have they been doing? And then it frustrates me with all of the, yes, guys, if you guys can tap the screen, I seriously appreciate it. I pray nothing happens to your family. All right, there's always more behind the scenes. Well, I hope nothing like this happens to my family. I'm not sitting there saying that this family didn't suffer an unimaginable loss. I'm not saying that at all. My heart goes out to the Bradley family and to Amy. But when you're going to step out into the public and you're going to push a story that doesn't make sense, don't you want us to question it to find the real truth about what happened to Amy? Right? Isn't that what the expectation should be? Is that we don't just sit there and feel bad for people and not ask the questions that I feel really need to be asked? Okay? We all know that they don't like the questions, Telly. They absolutely do not like it. Why? Why don't they like the questions? Hey, Mimi, why don't they like the questions, okay? That right there should be a red flag for everybody. I think she would be in her 50s if she were found today. She's about 50-something years old. So now, let's talk about this family. The information they're putting out there has changed from the original story that they put out there when Amy first went missing, right? The story, hey Tennille, the story is not the same. It has changed. Now, this is always one of my big things is this, the truth never changes. You don't forget the last time you spoke with your sister or your daughter. You don't forget things like that. The last thing, the story shouldn't change. If you've been working on this story all this time and you've been telling it over and over, it should be in your memory, like embedded in there, right? It's not something, if you've been working on this and looking for her for all these years, then you should know the story front, back, and every which way, right? Not that, oh, I forgot, or oh, I forgot about this, or I didn't remember that, or it just doesn't make any sense. Now they sit there and they want to push this narrative that Royal Caribbean is responsible. I don't believe Royal Caribbean is responsible. I believe that Amy Bradley walked off that ship of her own free will. That is my belief. Okay? They want Royal Caribbean to be responsible. They tried suing Royal Caribbean and saying that they were responsible because she was kidnapped and, her safety on the ship and negligence and all of this and that. So how are you suing somebody when you don't even know what happened to the girl? The fact that they cannot say that, oh, I just saw that. I don't know who just put that in the chat, but the fact that they cannot say that they don't know for a fact that that woman walked off the ship, but yet you're trying to hold the cruise line responsible? Guys, make that make sense. You don't even know what happened to her. How can you hold somebody else responsible when you state you don't know what happened to her? Well, that was a money grab, right? They were trying to sue Royal Caribbean. Now, the whole thing with Royal Caribbean is they absolutely perjured themselves. They were not charged with perjury, but they absolutely lied. And let me put this out there. They were asked in discovery for every known sightseeing, like people who saw her, every known sighting of her, and they gave the 3 that pushes the narrative that Royal Caribbean would have been held responsible. What about the other 100? What about the other 100 people who saw her, but she was in no duress, under no duress, under no distress? What about those sightings? Why isn't he putting those out there for the public? Right? If people saw her, it doesn't matter if she was in duress or not. Don't you want to find your sister, your daughter? Right? Isn't that the main point of all of this? Per them is that they want to find Amy. So if they want to find Amy so badly, why aren't you telling the public about the other sightings that don't make Royal Caribbean responsible? Right? Now I know that they have to be careful. I know that they had to sign a contract that they can't speak about Royal Caribbean. Good. But they absolutely did lie during the discovery. They did not hand over all of the evidence that they were asked for. They only gave the 3 people that they keep talking about to this day that states that she could have been in some duress, and they're trying to prove that all of these were actual sightings. So you mean to tell me you had 100 and something sightings of Amy, and the only 3 that you've got any evidence that were real were the ones where she was in duress, and that would hold Royal Caribbean responsible? Did you even check the ones where she wasn't in any distress? Were any of those checked? Do they talk about any of those sightings of people who saw her, but she was happy, she was not sad, she was not, looking like she was kidnapped? Do they talk about any of those sightings? No. Why? If it's really all about finding Amy, why are you not speaking about those sightings? Right? Guys, she was seen out there in, I don't know, East Jabib, Idaho. So guys in Idaho, be on the lookout, Wouldn't you tell everybody about all of the sightings of her? Just in case? Why are the only 3 the ones that were pushed, that's the ones that made her look sex trafficked? They're not giving the full story. Now I ask you this. I know how many people, put a 1 in the chat if you guys went over to YouTube and watched the interviews on the Amy is Missing YouTube channel. Did anybody see the interviews that he posted over there? Yeah. Now, if you go and you watch those interviews, they talk about the polygraph, right? Yeah, a lot of you have. They talk about the polygraph. How many of us heard about the polygraph, right? But why, when they speak about the polygraphs, do they only speak about Yellow's? Oh, Yellow was given a polygraph test and his was inconclusive. Well, number 1, I highly doubt if he sex trafficked and kidnapped your sister that he was going to volunteer. Guys, Yellow is in Grenada. He had to volunteer for that polygraph. He was not forced and could not be forced to take a polygraph. He could have said, nah, I don't want to take one. However, he volunteered to take the polygraph. He took the polygraph. It came out inconclusive. Okay? I believe that he knew. He spoke with Amy. I believe that, remember, he said, I saw Amy. Amy was smoking a lot. She was talking about, the fact that she was there with her family, and her family wasn't too happy about the fact that, I'm not even going to say the word. I got banned once for saying the word. Her sexual preference, right? Why would he make that up? Because we're all thinking it. Even if Yellow didn't say that, wouldn't we all be thinking it, right? So, why? Why would he make that up? I do believe that he helped her leave that ship. And I do believe that they asked the wrong questions, and that is why Yellow's test came back inconclusive. Now, if you watch the interview, if you watch the documentary, if you go Google it, if you Google the Bradley family taking, or search it up anywhere, any of those places, and you look up the Bradley family taking a polygraph, it will go straight to Yellow's polygraph, right? And then they will say, or Brad Bradley has admitted, that the family absolutely did get taken with the FBI to Richmond, the Richmond office, and they were given a polygraph. Brad, Iva, and Ron. Right? That's all they said. That's all you can see anywhere. That's all that's ever come out of Brad Bradley's mouth is, they gave us a polygraph test. Well, what were the damn results? Just because they gave you a polygraph and you're out here looking for your sister doesn't mean you passed it. Doesn't mean theirs couldn't be inconclusive as well. Why? If I took a polygraph, right, because my family member was missing, and somebody asked me, oh, did you take a polygraph test? My answer would be, yes, we took and passed a polygraph test. Took and passed. All they're doing is admitting that they were given polygraphs, but where are the results? Guys, Google it, look it up in the interviews, in the articles, look it up in the documentary, look it up everywhere. What are the results of said polygraphs for the Bradley family? Why? Thank you guys so much for the heart me's. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Why don't they say the results? What are the results? Where is the proof that you were given polygraphs? Yo, we're running blind on the word of her family whose story has changed from the very beginning. Okay? We are running blind on the family's narrative, and none of us have seen an ounce of proof of anything. Nothing. All right? They want to sit there. They showed us the picture. The one that they want to say is Amy Bradley. Yes, it's her. FBI said it was her. Show me the proof where the FBI. Show me the paperwork. Show me an email. Show me something where the FBI said that was absolutely, without a doubt, in their opinion, it was absolutely her. There's no doubt in their mind that it was her. Where was that? We're going on just the word of the family, guys. I mean, how many of us look at that picture and are like, yeah, well, it resembles her, but I don't know about exactly, right? So the story varies because they don't have answers, but their version of events should not vary. Their version of events of what happened that they were a part of that night should never change. You know, we're sitting there. I went back to articles way back in 1998, 1999, right? Nothing has been updated, Telly. Nothing has been updated. If they've been working all these years trying to find their family member, trying to find Amy Bradley, where? Somebody show me what they've done. Somebody show me something. Now, they do have a nonprofit. Do you guys all know about I'm like, why is nobody talking about this nonprofit? Like, I'm really curious. Usually people do these deep dives and, you know what I mean? They talk about everything. Why is nobody touching the money of the Bradley family? If you go and you look at the nonprofit for the family, it's for the last 3-4 years maybe, tax-free. It's a 501(c) nonprofit organization. And for years, it did really well financially. Really well. But in the last 3 years, it tanked. They lost money. They didn't make money. In the last 3 years, nothing. Nothing. So I find it odd that in that same time that your nonprofit is going blank, right? It's fallen. There's no money. There's no nothing. All of a sudden, this Netflix documentary comes out. Now, I don't know how much he was paid for it. That he is paid, I don't know what they would have paid him. But they did pay him, or all of them. I want to know why this came out 30 years later. Okay? At the same time that nonprofit starts to tank, why aren't they pushing out that nonprofit anymore? Why now is it all of a sudden, there's a LinkedIn and here's the GoFundMe? Well, if it was really, all of it had to do with Amy Bradley, why wouldn't you put it in the nonprofit, right? Make it make sense. But instead, they've never mentioned the nonprofit. Have any of you heard them mention their nonprofit? I haven't heard anybody mention anything about their nonprofit. And if you look into the finances like I did of that nonprofit, it tanked the last 3 years. And when I tell you that it took in over $1 million, that nonprofit took in money. It took in a lot of money. And then it tanked. So, now all of a sudden it's, guys, there's a LinkedIn. Go to the LinkedIn. Make sure you go to the Facebook page. Make sure you go to the TikTok. Watch this. And they are aggressively throwing that GoFundMe everywhere, literally aggressively, to content creators. If you are for them and you believe everything they say, oh, please, we need the money so they can search for her. They need it for investigators and they need it for travel expenses so they can go find her. They need it for all of that, right? Same thing with Kim Kardashian, and I just put it in my last video. So if y'all haven't seen that last video, guys, go watch that. Where they're talking about, you know what I mean, make sure you go to the LinkedIn, the GoFundMe is there. And hopefully Kim Kardashian can see it because, you know, she can give a large donation. What? What? Hopefully Kim Kardashian sees it so she can give a large donation. She did, Mercy. Kim K did have a long conversation with Iva. So did Chloe. Kim and Chloe both had a conversation with Iva. But let me ask you this. Why is it about Kim Kardashian's money and not the publicity that she could give this case just speaking about it, right? Aren't you trying to push Amy's picture out there, push this story, push this case out there to the public so it can be seen everywhere, so people can see her face? If you truly believed that this woman was alive, then you would be more worried about getting her face everywhere than just Kim Kardashian giving you money because the story's good. What is the money going to do? It should be worth more to them to get her face out there, to get that picture out there, to get the stories, regardless of the theories that people are putting out there, regardless of which stance any content creator takes. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong or any of it. The big deal is that they're talking about it. So if I were Brad Bradley, I don't care. I'm not going to go after you because you pushed a narrative I didn't like. No. I need these content creators to keep talking about my sister. I don't care what you say. She ran away and joined the circus, and now she's a circus clown, and she's the fifth clown in the car. Like, I don't give a crap what you're saying about her. Put it out there. Get her name out there. Get her face out there. Get this story, get this case out there. You would think that that was the ultimate goal of this family, right? Right? So, why are you so worried about what their stories or versions are? Nobody can say without a doubt what happened. And for all of these investigations that these people have done in 30 years, you mean to tell me so the last almost 30 years, you have been out there spending your money, traveling, looking for your sister, and you got nothing? You got nothing. And if you do have something, well, why don't you put it out there? Why don't you prove to people that you're doing something to actually look for your sister? I don't know. I'm just saying. This is just my take on it. Like, it just leaves so many damn questions. Too many questions. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to... Using networks would help them, but they choose Kim Kardashian. Exactly. Why Kim Kardashian? Because she's rich. And they literally said, hopefully she can make a large donation. Oh, is that your concern, the money? Not just, hey, Kim, can you watched it? Can you tell the story? Can you talk about it? Because let's be real, Kim Kardashian can talk about the ant she stepped on this morning, and that ant's going to have more publicity than anybody else on the internet just because of who she is, right? So why are you so worried about Kim Kardashian's donation? Talk about the story. And I'm really curious to see what Kim Kardashian, not that I think that she's somebody who's got a brain cell to strike a match with, but I'm curious to see what she has to say about this case, about this family, about Iva that she talked to for hours, her and Chloe on the phone. I am really curious to see what she has to say. Have they been back to the Caribbean since 1998? I haven't seen anything. I don't know. Nobody knows. They've been collecting money for years. They've been doing all of this stuff. What have they done? They're saying that they're doing all these things, but yet what is it that you actually have done? We have an investigator now, he says. We now know, we believe, how she got off that ship. 30 years later, you got an investigator that now knows how Amy Bradley got off that ship being trafficked and kidnapped. Come on. Come on. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. 30 years later, it's because, and think about it, their nonprofit tanked. Go look into the nonprofit, guys. It tanked the last 3 years. It was making $100 and something, almost $200,000 a year, $100,000 a year, was making good money. Then it tanked. What a lot of nonprofits do Nothing. They profit on it. And I've worked in the anti-trafficking. I agree, Willow Grace, that nonprofit, let's be real, what is it doing? What is it doing? I don't know. I got no idea. It puts up pictures of missing people. I don't know where all that money's going. Where's all that money going? All that money that's donated to this nonprofit that they have, where is it going? You're talking hundreds. It's raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They're saying that their net profit is anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 a year, which I don't believe. Let's be real. What are your expenses? Literally. Well, what are they doing? Where's the money going? Like, I really want to look into this and be like, I want to sit down and go over, where is your money going? What are your expenses? To do what? Where is it going? And it tanked the last 3 years. That to me sounds like a really good reason to get this public again, right? To make sure that GoFundMe that raised since June 25th, I believe is the date, that GoFundMe raised $27,000. 20 time mercy, man, that GoFundMe raised $27,000. And what is that, like a month and a half? They are pushing it so aggressively, fighting. Now, I don't know if other content creators are noticing it. I'm curious, is anybody else noticing the uptick in fights in your comments over that GoFundMe? Slamming it everywhere. They're putting it on videos that have nothing to do with Amy Bradley. They're sticking it everywhere. You could just ask a content creator, hey, would you put this out there? But don't come slamming it in there, fighting with people who are leaving comments on my videos, like literally going at them because you want to push out a GoFundMe and people are like, I ain't paying you. So they said they got ripped off by a previous investor. So Ness, that's actually the truth. That is actually the truth. But let me explain that. It was $24,000 they said that they lost of their money. Okay? It was $184,000, I believe, that they lost from an organization who donated the money to them. That was not their money that they lost. I just want to be clear. That was not their money. That $184,000 was from an organization that donated to them to help find Amy. So I just want to put that out there. They did not lose $200,000 personally. And that's another thing that they keep pushing out there. I don't think this family is lying. I don't even know what to say. I mean, they haven't told the truth, right? Like, they sat there. If you go back to the articles back in 1998, you'll see where they said that Ron, the father, was at the disco at 3 a.m. For years since then, they never spoke on that detail again. To me, that is a significant detail to leave out. To me, that makes or breaks that entire timeline. Okay? No, Red. But they left that out for all this time. Okay? Then all of a sudden, because the content creators are bringing it up, because let's be real, we know what you had for breakfast at dinner on that day on the ship, Brad. Like, we dig, and we dig hard, and I didn't think that this family was going to expect that we would go that hard digging in on these cases. But then all of a sudden, when it was brought up, then all of a sudden they remembered that, yes, Ron was at the disco at 3 o'clock. Well, guys, doesn't that change the entire timeline of events that night? Ooh. I think there was a car accident up the block. So that knowing that Ron was at the disco, at that nightclub, on that ship at 3 a.m., saw Amy, saw Brad, changes the entire timeline. Because that means you got there at 3 o'clock, you sat there, you talked to your son for, what, a couple of minutes, right? At least 10, 15 minutes at the least. He's showing you where Amy is. Hey, Amy, you're looking over at Amy. You're trying to find her. Again, you had to find him in this nightclub, right? You had to go figure out where he was. And then you had to walk back to your room. What time did Ron Bradley get back to his room? What time did Ron Bradley get back to that room after he saw them in the nightclub at 3 a.m.? You would think that at the fastest, right, he would have gotten back there after getting there, speaking, talking, doing all that, and then walking back to the room. It was at least 30 minutes. So that means that he got back and was awake in that room at 3:30, right? Now, let me ask you this. The wife was in the room sleeping, is what they said. Again, this is all their story. The wife was in the room sleeping. Did he forget his key card, Ron? And did Ron not want to wake his wife up? So he said, Brad, you got Amy's card. Can I have your card? Let me go back. That sounds like maybe that's why, if you look at the first interviews, all right, if you look at the first interviews and you look at the different documentaries, in one of them he states, Brad Bradley states, I got back to the room. She got back about 30 minutes later. How many of us have seen that clip? A lot of us saw that clip, right? Thank you, Gentle, for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. If you're in here hanging out, don't forget to give a follow. I truly appreciate it. But that means that Ron could have gotten to the room and used, thank you, Shanta, for the follow. I appreciate it. That means Ron could have gotten to the room. Thank you, Missy, for the follow. I appreciate you. That means Ron could have gotten the room at around 3:30 with Brad's key card, right? The time it registered. I do believe what happened is that Brad said, Amy, I'm going back to the room. You can come, and I'll open the door. Just knock. I'll stay awake. Thank you, Willow Grace, for the follow. I appreciate you. I'll be awake. I think that Brad used Amy's key card at 3:35, 5 minutes after Dad got there. And I think that Amy Bradley came back a half an hour later. I believe Dad was awake. I believe Brad was awake. I believe Amy came back, knocked on the door. They all got into a conversation. I think there was already animosity and anger and frustration between the entire family. I think they got into an argument. I do believe her sexuality was brought up in that argument, considering the fact that they made it such a point to state in the documentary that how about the men, right? All of the male crew members were hitting on her, looking at her, made this big thing about how they were all wanted Amy, right? Thank you so much. Thank you, Vix True Crime. I appreciate it. They all, made it seem like, all these men wanted her, made it a point to say that she had a boyfriend. Like, obviously her sexuality played a part in this. I don't care what that family says, right? And it's obvious just by the way they try to hide it still to this day. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I really do believe that the sexuality played a part. I think they argued that night. I think that Brad might have said to the father, oh, she was dancing with a guy, and that started an argument. I think that she was like, you know what, if you guys keep teasing me, you guys keep going there, you can't handle the fact that I'm a lesbian. I'm out. I think she threatened to leave. She got upset. She actually did leave, I think, after leaving her shirt there, storming off. I think she left that room and they went to bed thinking, whatever, she'll be back, right? Like we all would. There was an argument and somebody just stormed out and said, I'm leaving. We would all be like, whatever, then I'll come back. Like, let her go take her minute, right? And I think that Dad panicked at 6 a.m. when he woke up and saw she wasn't in the room. I don't believe in this 5:30 sightings, like something woke me up and I saw her and then I woke up a half an hour later and she wasn't there, and I don't believe any of that crap. I think that the reason why they panicked, and then they say, well, we didn't really panic, but if you watch the documentary, Iva states that Ron went to look for her for half an hour, went all over the ship, came back when he couldn't find her, and woke her up in a panic. Oh, the look on his face. I knew something was wrong. Do we all remember that? Right? Like, we all remember that, so you can't say, it wasn't a panic, because that's not what you've been saying. You're just taking it back now because people are calling you out. So I think that that's what the panic was for. I do believe that Ron Bradley panicked when he realized she said she was going to leave and not come back, and she really didn't come back. And then I think that's why they all went and started looking for Amy, to make sure that she did not get off that ship without them. That's why it was such a big thing for the parents and the brother to go up to security and say, shut this ship down. Okay? I really do believe that. Shut it down. She's really going to leave. She's really not going to come back. I believe that they knew that she was a woman of her word. If she said it, she did it. Okay? I believe that's why the pictures were missing. All of the pictures just happened to disappear. So let me get this straight, Brad Bradley. You mean to tell me these sex traffickers just went and stole all of her pictures on the ship? To what? Making it like she wasn't there? I mean, come on. People saw her. She had a ticket, didn't she? Like, make it make sense. Why would they, if she was trafficked, why would they steal those pictures? The only thing that makes sense that those pictures are missing is because Amy herself took them. Amy herself bought them. Okay? Amy herself bought those pictures and left. I do too, Mercy. I'm not going to lie. I really do believe, that Yellow played a part in this. However, I don't believe it was a malicious part. I do believe that, I think that afterwards she sat down with Yellow and she was talking to Yellow. She had a couple drinks in her. Let's be real. You drink and you tend to like, woe is me, here's the story, the truth serum, you know what I mean? All of that. I think that he was, felt bad for her. My parents, they forced me to come on this trip. They don't want me to be gay. I think they're forcing me. They want me to hook up with a man, and it's not really what I want, and I just want to get away from it all. And he might have been like, listen, if you want to get away from it all, let me help you. I know a person in Curacao that can get you an ID. I know a person in Curacao that can, you know what I mean? Like, I really believe that that's what happened. I feel like that's more logical than thinking for 1 second that they drugged her in a cup of coffee, which now that means 3 people are involved, right? They drugged her coffee. She got drugged. They dragged her somewhere on a ship of 2,500 people. They dragged her somewhere. Nobody saw her, okay? And then shoved her, got her to the point where she was so drugged. They shoved her in a laundry bin and rolled her off the ship through the cruise door. Do you know how many people would have come in contact with something suspicious? Not a crew member complained about anything suspicious. You mean to tell me every crew member on that ship is in a sex trafficking ring? Come on, there's young kids on there. 19, 20-year-olds. Thank you, Paul Passion, for the follow. I appreciate you. You know what I mean? 20-year-olds, their first job, they're just sitting there. You're working on a cruise, great first job. Like, it doesn't make sense that nobody saw anything. She was drugged and shoved into a saxophone box. Like, come on, guys. Do we really? And nobody saw? Nobody saw at all. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Nobody saw anything suspicious. No. I'm sorry. I would believe that she jumped overboard before I believe that she was kidnapped and targeted on this ship to be in a sex trafficking ring. And why do I say that? Well, I say that because think about it. This is a well-off young American woman who got on this ship traveling and staying in a cabin with her brother, her mother, and her father. Number one, everybody's going to notice that this woman's missing. She's got people there who are going to miss their family member. It's going to be too obvious. Why would they risk an entire sex trafficking ring that makes them so much money because they need Amy Bradley so bad because they pinpointed her and said she's just so goddamn beautiful. We need to have her in our sex trafficking ring right now, and we're gonna risk bringing down an entire sex trafficking ring that involves Royal Caribbean and people on Curacao and all of that. Come on. For one woman? The one woman traveling with her entire family. Come on, guys. That makes no sense. You would target... And again, some people said looks have nothing to do with it. That's absolutely correct. Looks don't have anything to do with it. People have... You know what I mean? I just feel like they are not... They're going to pick the person who's traveling alone. Okay? They're going to pick the person who may not be missed as much as a well-off, prominent white family, you know what I mean, who walks on board a cruise ship, and we're going to take that white girl with money and shove her in Barbados. Like, come on. It makes no sense to me. I really don't. I really don't. I feel like that's just wild. So you can watch, it's Amy is Missing on Netflix is one of the documentaries. There's other documentaries that were put out many, many years ago, but the newest one is Amy is Missing on Netflix. Who is that? So yeah, that's what, it's more likely to believe she left willingly and then possibly, so that's a possibility. That is a possibility. I do believe that she could have left willingly and then got caught up in something, because again, look at the island of Curacao is very, you know what I mean? However, I feel like people want to keep going about these 3 sightings, the one with the Navy guy, the one with the, the woman in the bathroom, the drug sighting, but what about all of the people who saw her not in duress? What about all of those sightings? Why are they not talking? They're sightings nonetheless, right? The taxi driver. Those ones keep being pushed. But there were so many other sightings that they're not talking about. Why are you not talking about them? Oh, because she wasn't in duress, she wasn't sex trafficked, and so we can't believe them. Why are they not talking about any sightings that they saw Amy Bradley and she wasn't in any duress? Has anybody heard the family mention any single one of those sightings? Because again, it's all about the truth and finding Amy Bradley, right? So even if there's a sighting and it says, aren't you going to check it out? Aren't you going to put that information out there? Why are they only putting out the information of those sightings that make her look sex trafficked? What about the other sightings of her where she wasn't in any duress? Well, we don't know for a fact that any of those 3 sightings were her, Ashley, right? I mean, so Ashley just said, or maybe it wasn't really her in those sightings where she wasn't really in duress. We could say the same about the other 3. Prove that they actually saw Amy Bradley. You can't. Nobody can. So isn't it the same thing? There were over 100 sightings of her. You mean to tell me not one could be plausible? Not one could be possible? That she was seen not in duress? Not a single one of those could be possible. So, Kristen, have you seen any proof that those pictures are forensically matched? Because I haven't. Has anybody else? Maybe I missed it. It's possible that I missed it. I'm not sitting there saying I know everything. But has anybody seen any proof that the Fed said that that was absolutely Amy Bradley? No. We're just going on the word of the Bradleys, guys. No proof. Okay? The FBI was talking in the one documentary. They didn't say it, right? They didn't mention that. Make it make sense. We're all going and biting off of what Brad Bradley is currently saying. But if you really watch what Brad Bradley is saying, it doesn't seem like he actually cares about Amy Bradley. Now, I'm not going to say that. Let me take that back. I don't believe that it's that he doesn't care about Amy Bradley. I do believe that he thinks he know, or he may know, the family may know what actually happened to her, and that this is a money grab. Because if you were really concerned about finding Amy Bradley, you would put all of the information out there, even the stuff you don't want to believe. Even that stuff. Right? I would believe that she offed herself before I believe the sex trafficking, targeting, that's the thing about documentaries. They are highly edited. I agree, Mommy. I agree with you. They are edited, but it's the same information being put out by the Bradley family, right? So the only thing we have is what they say. And what did the producers of this documentary actually see as any proof to anything? Or were they just going by the word of the Bradley family, right? I don't know. Just none of it makes sense to me. He looks very uncomfortable when he speaks. He looks uninterested, like he couldn't care any less. It's always that other chick. Who's that other woman, the family friend, that does all the talking, and he's just like, whatever. He just doesn't say anything with any emotion. He doesn't say anything with any purpose. It's just, you know what I mean? Ashley said, I disagree. Hold on one second. Ashley, you're disagreeing with the fact that she unalived herself? I disagree. She got her own apartment. She started a new job and had a dog. So that means that you can't commit suicide? And let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Just because she got a dog doesn't mean she couldn't feel some type of way and jump off a ship, okay? Now, she got her own apartment. Yeah, she did. She also got a job, a new job. Yeah, she did. Do you guys know who that new job was with? It was a computer job that she got with the family. The family hired her. The family, the same family who did not, the job was with her uncle, correct. The same family who did not agree with her lifestyle choices, right? So if you're sitting there and your family is thinking, they're not agreeing with your choices and who you are as a person, and now that's where you're going to work, right? That's a little stressful, right? Do we really want to work around a family member that doesn't love me for who I am? Right? Okay? And just because that happens doesn't mean she didn't choose at that moment that she no longer wanted to live. Just because she bought a puppy in a new apartment doesn't mean that she didn't get to the point psychologically where she felt like there was no way out. That she felt like she was so in the dumps. Remember, she was drinking a little bit. That never helps, right? So I believe that while I believe she walked off that ship, that's my personal belief, because I feel like for me, that answers the most questions. The fact that she jumped off that ship is a possibility, highly unlikely. Thank you, Mama Bear, for the follow. I appreciate you. Highly unlikely. However, I do believe it's a possibility. Probably more than the sex traffic ring, that this entire ship was just, all these crew members were involved in a sex trafficking ring. Just doesn't seem as likely as she walked off the ship or she jumped, right? Sometimes it's the simple answer. I know we all love a good conspiracy theory, but to sit there and try and then think about this. Thank you, Jamie, for the heart me. Guys, if you're in here, if you can send me a heart me, I appreciate it. And if you guys can tap the hell out of my face to get me pushed back out on the FYP, I appreciate you for that. Everybody who's in here who's new, who isn't following, please don't forget to give a follow. I appreciate you. And thank you to everybody I just shouted out for following. I see you and I appreciate you. But again, this whole scene, none of it makes sense. I feel like the family doesn't want to go and tell the truth because maybe they did get into an argument that night. Now, do I believe the family did anything to her? No. I'm going to be honest. I don't believe that they hurt her. I don't believe they were fighting with her and threw her overboard. I don't believe that. I believe that they did get into an argument. I think that they've been, thank you, Vanity. I think that they've been holding on to that for a while and that they don't want to admit it because it makes them look guilty. However, there would be a lot more respect and understanding if they just admitted that, right? That we had got into a fight about her being gay. Listen, no judgment. It was 1998. Everybody thought the same way, unfortunately. It was the way of the times, okay? But I think that the reason why they're not telling the truth and why they're pushing so hard that they were the perfect family. They were the perfect family. We had a great relationship. We loved her regardless. We were perfect. We never fought. We never got angry with each other. We were just so close. That does not exist, guys. That family he mentioned doesn't exist. Let's be real. You can have a great family and lovely people and love all of them, but let's be real. People can be pains in the asses sometimes. People can just do things you don't agree with, or you have, let's be real, I come from an extremely judgmental family, okay? Let me just put that out there. Doesn't mean they don't love me, but they sure as hell judge me. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So I feel like just tell the truth. It just so happened that this family's so perfect and so close that his last words to his sister were, "I love you"? Come on. Do you know how highly unlikely it is that anybody's last words to anybody are "I love you"? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I am saying the odds of it happening and ending like that are slim to none, guys. But it just so happened that this perfect family, this perfect son, this perfect brother, his last words to the perfect sister was, "I love you," right before she went missing and never seen again. Really? Really? Are we just, we're going to believe that? So easily, that sounds right. Like, guys, y'all, a lot of you were in here when I spoke about Gypsy Rose. Same thing. Like, "Oh, I love you" is always the last words of people. Come on, guys. It doesn't make sense. My kids fight like cats and dogs, so do mine. I have a great family, but man, I got kids that don't listen sometimes. I got kids that fight. I got, you know what I mean? Kids that make choices that I just don't agree with, or, you know what I mean, don't like and wish they chose differently. Not necessarily sexual preference-wise, but you know what I mean? It's like, come on. There's no perfect family. And they keep trying over and over again like a broken record. They are pushing that line so hard that I'm actually sick of hearing it now. Okay? They're throwing it and dropping it in comment sections everywhere. "No, they were the perfect family. Go donate to them. They're still looking for..." Come on. There is no perfect family. Okay? So, again, just admit that something could have happened. And I think that they're afraid because obviously they were the first suspects, right? Obviously, because they were the last ones to see her and they're the family. They were all in the same room. Thank you, Brina. Thank you so much. Obviously, they were the suspects. And I think that they didn't tell the truth because it made it sound bad. And I think because of that, a lot is being held back that we don't know about, that investigators don't know about. We don't even know what they told the FBI. We don't even know what they told any of these investigators. We're going, again, the only thing we have to go by is what that Bradley family is telling you. And what case have we ever seen where the family told the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Somebody tell me a case where the family told the entire truth. There's none. Because people always change stories to make themselves look better, so they don't become a suspect, so they don't look, you know what I mean? What was he going to do? Come out here and be like, "Yeah, we didn't like the fact that my sister was a lesbian"? Yeah, they would have got a whole lot of hate, right? People would have jumped down their throat. They can't very well say that. But I do believe that that might have been what happened. I believe that she got mad. I believe she had a conversation with Yellow and maybe one other crew member that said that they would help her. I think that's why she left the shirt out on the balcony. Thank you, Beth, for the follow. I appreciate you. I think that's why she left her shirt out there, because I do believe that they gave her a uniform. She didn't need that shirt. She took that shirt off because she didn't need it. She put on a pair of sneakers. That's why her Birkenstocks were there. Again, they admitted she brought multiple pairs of shoes. They don't know. They can't account for all of them. They don't know which one she had. I think that she left her shirt there. Because the family, they were fighting. The father and the brother were up fighting. She got mad. She put on those sneakers. She said, "I'm leaving. I'm not coming back." They thought, yeah, whatever, she'll be back. She went to Yellow and knocked on the door. And that's why she was seen walking up the stairs with Yellow, where Yellow passed her off to somebody else, where she walked off that cruise ship dressed as a crew member and nobody noticed her. That's what I believe happened. That is one of the only explanations that accounts for all of the sightings, if you believe them. Can also account, if you don't believe the sightings, it also makes sense. It accounts for everything. Right? And I think that that is why that father panicked at 6 a.m. when he woke up and was like, shit, she stormed out of here, but she never came back. And so I'm a retired detective, and that theory just hit. It's the only theory that explains everything. It explains the missing pictures. Grab your pictures on the way out. We need to get you a new ID. Also, she wants to have a memory of her family. She's about to leave for good, right? It's the only thing that explains every single thing in this entire story. That's the only thing that explains it. There is no other one theory that can take everything into consideration and it works. None of them do. This is the only one. And again, why all of a sudden the father was never at the dance club, then he was at the dance club at 3 o'clock. Well, he didn't want to tell anybody that he was at that dance club at 3 o'clock because he knows when he got back using Brad Bradley's key card that the other two came walking in. I do believe that she might have came back a whole lot later and that they were fighting. There was an argument. And that's why Ron Bradley panicked at 6 a.m. and went running around the ship. I think he went to Ron, did we dock yet? Did we dock yet? To make sure that we weren't docked yet. Came back a half an hour later in a panic, woke up Iva, who admits, I don't care what Brad Bradley says. Iva out of her own mouth said, thank you, Carrie, for sharing, thank you. Iva out of her own mouth said, he woke me up in a panic. And the look on his face, I knew something was wrong. He was panicked. He said, Amy is missing. And then they left to go find her, right? Out of Iva's own mouth. During an interview, she said that. I do believe that is exactly what happened. I do believe that he was panicked because he knew she stormed out that night before. Maybe Iva wasn't awake and didn't know that. I do believe that Ron Bradley and Brad Bradley knew she stormed out that night before and that she met, all of a sudden, she didn't come back and they knew she meant it. That was the panic. That was the close this ship down, don't let anybody off because she's going to leave and never come back. That's the only theory in my head, in my mind, that takes everything into consideration and makes complete and total sense. Now, what happened to her once she got off that ship, I don't know. I do believe, and you got to really think about the evidence you have at hand. Yes, she was seen by a taxi driver. Yes, they say she was seen by that sailor in the bar. But the other 100 that saw her, if you take those other 100 people, witnesses that saw her, and you break it down to 50 and say 50 were incredible. 50 we'll look into, right? Then you take that and you cut it in half to 25 because, well, we proved them absolutely, definitely wrong. At the end of the day, at least 4 or 5 would be something that you would have had to check on, right? So why not talk about those? Why not talk about those? A little bit of math means there was probably more positive sightings of Amy Bradley than there were those few negative ones that they want to keep jamming down everybody's throat. The problem is the positive sightings don't hold Royal Caribbean responsible the way they want to force Royal Caribbean to be responsible so bad. I'm just saying. And again, we're taking the word of people who literally lied in a court of law, who literally were sneaky to try and push the narrative in court. That same narrative they were trying to push in court. These people did not do the honorable thing. They did not tell the truth in that courtroom to push the same narrative they are pushing to this day. That doesn't have any evidence to back it up. Their story has no evidence to back it up. Somebody show me. Somebody show me. Why has nobody asked these people what the results of their polygraphs were? Can we see the proof? I'm sure the FBI handed you the proof. It would be very easy just to post a paper. You can all do videos now. Just post a video and show us that you all passed that polygraph. If there was even a polygraph test taken. Because they're the only ones that mentioned that they took a polygraph. Now, we do know that Yellow admitted to taking a polygraph. We got the results of the polygraph, right? What about the Bradleys, guys? Why not show some proof? Why not show some proof? I'm just saying. None of it makes sense. There's no proof has been given. We're all sitting there throwing money at these people on their word. The word of people who have lied in a court of law and changed that narrative and that story and been so inconsistent for 30 years. I'm sorry. I'm not, I hope the girl is found. I feel bad for them that they lost their sister/daughter. I ain't throwing money at you people. Nope. Use the money that you made off Netflix, right? Use the money from that. Use the money that from your nonprofit that's raking in $100,000 a year. Why do you got to use the money of what? No, it's a money grab. Use Kim Kardashian's money? You're out here telling Kim Kardashian, oh, she could donate a large amount of money, not that she could put it out there publicly. None of it makes sense. I think the more Bradley opens his mouth and tells these stories, the more aggravated people get and the more they see right through him. I'm just saying. Yeah. And I think that people are starting to catch him, and he's getting a little bit upset. Like, why don't you answer the questions of people who don't agree with you? Because if you really had something to prove and you were so completely right, well then go to these people and answer their actual questions. He won't dare be asked a question by anybody who's got a real question, because they're going to prove him wrong. Anybody who's really looked into this is going to prove him wrong. There's nothing he can say that, oh, she was trafficked. What proof? Where's this investigator that knows that she was trafficked and dragged out of the bottom of the ship? Like, you're telling this to people, hey, in Scotland, you're saying this, thank you for the heart me. You're saying this to people, but nobody's questioning, like, where's any proof to anything that's ever been said in any of these documentaries? The story's been inconsistent. Like, can somebody show a bit of proof? Show us how much you've spent trying to look for Amy for the last 30 years. Dude went to school and works as an orthopedic PA. Where do you go into Curacao and Barbados and traveling back and forth in the last 30 years? What have you done? What? I mean, they keep saying that they've been doing so much and now they're running out of money and they really need the money to continue the search, but what have you done? Somebody ask Brad Bradley what he's done to search with a little bit of proof. Don't sit there and be like, oh, we've been hiring private investigators. What are you on, your 19th private investigator? Come on. Where the FBI, if the FBI saw anything that they thought was credible, you don't think that they would just look or like try? The FBI just said, you know what? Screw Amy Bradley. We don't care. That's it. We don't care. It's just Amy Bradley. If the FBI saw anything that they figured or they got anything credible, do we really believe they're just going to ignore it? You think that the FBI doesn't want to break a sex trafficking ring, taking Americans? Do you know what they would get for that? Do you know what kind of publicity and attention the FBI would get for bringing down a sex trafficking ring, international sex trafficking ring? Come on. But they just said, you know what? This one's Amy Bradley. We don't give a crap about her. We're just not going to look according, come on. Come on. And exactly, what about the website clicks? I do believe that, and I've said this a million times, I believe she's out there living her own life. I believe that she left, and when you leave, you don't come back. She wanted to go out and live her life by her terms. I think she's absolutely doing it. I think that she absolutely is checking that website to see if they're getting close, or just to see pictures, or just to read it on these, days, specific holidays and stuff, anniversaries and whatnot. Now remember, she was into computers, and back then in 1998, to be into computers was a big thing because they weren't big yet. And I do believe she knows how to work a computer. Do I believe that she's using a fake IP address? Yes. Do I think that she may be local in the United States somewhere? Yeah, I think Amy Bradley returned home. I really believe it. I believe she was right here under our noses, not wanting to be found. And that's my opinion. We also have sightings of her here in the United States. Why don't they talk about those? The only one they'll talk about is the one where they say that she was seen in San Francisco, and she stopped on the street to watch a show or something, right? And she was with two men that were like holding her. And when they noticed her, they took her away. Like, makes no sense. You mean to tell me there's only been one sighting in the United States? So I really do believe that she's back in the United States. I believe she doesn't want to be found. I believe that the Bradleys are only pushing the narratives and stories that, or any information that shows she was sex trafficked, all so they can ultimately blame Royal Caribbean and not take, that's what I believe. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that is what I believe. Because they will not push. They've never given any evidence that she may just be out there and happy. They've never given any evidence that she may be out there and not in a sex trafficking ring. And you mean to tell me there's been none in 30 years? If there has been, they haven't told us about it, right? Why? Why not tell us about all of the evidence? Why are you only telling us about the evidence that backs up this horrible... Who would want their sister or daughter to be the victim of a sex trafficking ring? Why would Ivor Bradley be out there talking about, I hope I have grandkids. That would make me so happy. That would mean your daughter was raped multiple times and conceived a child from what? What? I can't believe she said that. Like, you so want her to not be gay. You hope she had a child, the product of a sex trafficking rape? What? Like, are they checking themselves? Like, I need you to be careful what you're out there saying because it makes you look that bad. I would much rather my child have committed suicide than to think that my child is out there alive being physically and sexually abused day in and day out in a sex trafficking ring. I would rather my child have jumped overboard than to think that they are living like that every day for the last 30 years. I would much rather run with the theory that my sister walked off and lived her own life because she hated me than to think that she is living the life of a sex trafficking victim every day for the last 30 years. And if I didn't know what happened, then I would push the story with the most hope. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you all push the one with the most hope that has the same amount of evidence as every other theory that can be pushed? The sex trafficking theory has no more evidence to back it than any of the other theories. So, if I don't know if she's alive or not, then I'd much rather push the theory any theory where she's not suffering every single day. Just so I can make a cruise line look responsible. And again, this is my opinion, because none of this is fact. Not even anything that comes out of Brad Bradley's mouth is fact. We have seen no proof. We're hearing the words, but we're not seeing any evidence, any proof of anything. We are just hearing his words. So, I don't know. You guys have to come up with your own theory on what you believe. Don't allow emotion. Like, I'm not going to sit there and just, push all the facts or evidence that I think that I see, or all the common sense that's being used to come up with these theories and push them all aside because, well, this family was hurt and they lost a sister. No, I'm sorry. You're just as suspect as everybody else. And you would think that that family would want that from people. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter what theory you put out there. It doesn't matter what you say about the girl. It doesn't matter. Stop getting your tail all shriveled. Like, nobody's coming after Brad. Like, he's getting all defensive. And, like, why do you care if it gets your sister's name out there? If somebody wanted to do 1 million videos of me every single day talking crap about me, but it got my missing sister's name out there, do them, for Christ's sake. You ain't hurting my feelings. You're pushing out her name. You're pushing out the case. That's what I want. I want the most amount of people that can see this information to see it. I don't care what you're saying about me. Get it out there. Why are you sitting there telling people, no, I don't like your content. I don't believe your theory. You shouldn't be doing videos on this. What? Everybody do videos. I don't care. Again, you could say, beam me up, Scotty. The aliens came. I don't care what you're saying about the case. Get the hashtag out there. Get the picture out there. Get the story out there. Make somebody question something. Why is this family not thinking along those lines if they were truly missing their family member? If they were truly missing Amy, why aren't they thinking that same way? Because that's exactly how I would think. Thank you, Coco. Had I have been missing my sister. So, I think I'm done rambling now, guys. I just wanted to put that out there. He is disturbing. I think that his whole attitude towards this whole thing is very disturbing. He did block creators he didn't agree with. He was getting aggressive in some comments, told people he didn't want, yeah, Brad Bradley has acted really shady to content creators. However, not me. I do want to put that out there. I have never had any contact with him. I haven't watched it yet, but you need a big gulp. Man, this whole thing was filled with ice before. I'm just like, I can't get enough ice. It's so hot and humid. He's been in comment sections. He has gotten really nasty with people. Like I said, they're constantly pushing. They are literally jamming this GoFundMe down everybody's throat. Down. You know what person I think has a little bit more credibility than anybody, who I would love to speak to, is the Shannon Lovelace, the Cat Lovelace, the girlfriend, the one that used to date Amy Bradley. I would love to speak to her. I may reach out to her because I feel like she's the only one not pushing out these narratives, not really, you know what I mean? She just seems the most genuine and honest. And so I may message her because I would absolutely love to hear from just what she thinks. And I know it's almost like she's scared, because if you watch her videos, it's almost like she's scared. She feels bad. She doesn't want to put the truth or what she believes the truth is about Amy out there. She doesn't, you know what I mean? She's not trying to hurt them. However, she does admit that her truth, her and Amy's truth, is far different than what the family's truth is. And so I'm really interested in speaking to her. So I'll reach out and we'll see what happens. You know, I'm sure that a lot of people have reached out, and so we've got nothing so far, but it can't hurt to give it a try for her to elaborate on the relationship, who Amy really was. That's not coming from a person who doesn't agree with her lifestyle choices. You know what I mean? So I'm really curious and I'm really excited. I hope she does more videos. Like, I really want her to put it out there. Thank you, Kimmy, for the follow. I appreciate you. I really want her to put some more videos out and just tell us more about that relationship, more about what Amy was feeling about her family. You know, let's be real. When you're dating somebody, thank you, Amy, for the follow. I appreciate it. When you're dating somebody, like, you know that they had conversations about, oh, my father doesn't agree. Isn't she the one who received the 3-page letter? I think it was her and not Molly. You know, I'm sure they had long, conversations, late night conversations about, I don't agree. Do we want to go to Christmas at my house this year because my family doesn't like the fact that we're together, and, that you can come along, but you can only act like a friend because they don't want people to know that we're dating. And can't you see those conversations going down? I know I can. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I just feel like she knows a lot more than anybody thinks she does, or of who Amy is. I definitely believe that Kat knows more about who Amy really was than Brad will ever. You know what I mean? Like, if you asked my husband, or if you asked my friends, and you asked my brother about me as a person, like, I'm close with my brother, but not as close as I am with my significant other, and probably not as close as I am to some girlfriends that I will tell everything and anything to. There are certain things that I won't tell my brother. Let's be real, right? So you don't know her as well as you think you do, Brad. I'm just saying. That's a sibling relationship, and this dealt with something a lot more personal that, she might have felt like she can be judged, and so you don't know her as well as you think you do. Nobody knows anybody that well. So let me just put that out there. Somebody wants to co-host. All right, so now I'm finished rambling about Brad Bradley. An intimate partner always knows more. Right. Absolutely. And I think she said that they dated for 2 years. I don't tell my brother stuff. I tell my sisters we're closer. Exactly. Yeah, I tell my sisters things I would never in a million years tell my brother. My brother probably knows nothing about me. Thank goodness, too, though. Why? Because brothers are protective and judgmental. Let me just put that out there. Brad had issues with the lifestyle. Why would she speak to him? Brad had issues with the lifestyle. Why would she speak? Exactly. She wouldn't. And they definitely were not this perfect, happy, amazing, close family. Never get into an argument. There was nothing wrong. We were so perfect. We were the perfect, all-loving family. Come on, that's bullcrap. Somebody show me a perfect family. I've yet to see one. Brad has some sugar in his tank. Stop it, Sarah. I don't know. You know what? I wouldn't. Listen. He had big issues with her lifestyle. He did. He still does. Go look at his. Look at the stuff he puts out on social media. Listen, you can't sit there and judge every other lesbian or member of the LGBTQ plus community, but you're totally okay with your sister. You're just going to judge everybody else for it. Come on. What he puts out on social media, his beliefs, it says it all. You don't have to tell me you didn't agree with her lifestyle. Your social media post tell me enough. I don't care what you say because you weren't thinking about this when you were posting that crap. Like, come on. You know, and now you're going to sit there and what? Well, I love my sister. It's okay that my sister's gay, but not everybody else. Like, come on. It's a bunch of crap. And I'm telling you, that family is extremely suspicious. He's getting very rude and nasty with people. He isn't appreciative at all. He's just like, it's a hassle for him. It's just not what you expect if you were actually looking for your sister. So, I'm just going to say that, guys. I'm going to head off here. I'm going to go. I hear my little one's finishing up her movie, and she's going to go get to bed, so I'm going to go put her to bed. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I will go live again tomorrow. But tomorrow, I wanted to talk about not only Brad Bradley, because I wanted to show a video about them tomorrow, but about Kate Gosselin being back, y'all. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's wild. Thank you to all of my mods in here that work to keep this chat so positive and friendly. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. We hit 119,000 likes, so thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.